This video was digitized from a photo collection I received from a Coast Guardsman by the name of Torsten V Gastgivar. And you can see there's the cover, and there he is right there with his Coast Guard cutter Duane hat. And this photo album covers his time on Duane from the 3rd of October 1939. There's Duane. And then on the 1st of February 1940, he transferred over to the Ingham. And both of these cutters were Treasury class Coast Guard cutters. And he starts off here on the Duane, which was commissioned in 1936, and then had a really long career going until 1985 when she was decommissioned. And this photo collection here in 1939 is when Duane was assigned with Destroyer Division 18 conducting neutrality patrols along the Grand Banks. And these were ordered by President Franklin Roosevelt. And she actually departed her home port in Oakland, California on September 7, 1939, and arrived at her new home port in Boston in September of 1939. So this would have been right before he got on board. And then when he got on board, she started conducting these Grand Bank patrols from October through December 1939, completing the last one in January 1940. So these photos you're seeing here are when he's out in sometime between October through December there. And you can see it's North Atlantic getting pretty rough in 1939. But just a great look at Duane here in 1939. And although Torsten Gastgivar was only on Duane just a few months here, you got some great photos. And Duane was then assigned to weather patrols after he got off in 1940, and then she carried out convoy duty in World War II. And on the 14th of June 1941, she rescued 46 survivors from the British tanker Treslin, which had been sunk by a U-77. And yeah, just a really good career in World War II. I'm just going to stay with this this video, and I'll just break in and comment. And now we're going to start Torsten Gastgivar's time on Ingham, which he got on board in February, 1st of February 1940. And Ingham, like I say, was another Treasury class Coast Guard cutter, and in commission from 1936 to 1988. So nice career. And as you can see here, he actually had a couple pages from his diary in his photo album. And this photo collection covers the Ingham's patrol or cruise from February to March of 1940, when she traveled from Boston to the Azores and then back. And what's really interesting is you'll see here, and he mentions it, that when they were about 500 miles off of Ponta Delgada, Portugal, one of the crew members, a Coast Guardsman by the name of Melvin, had a attack of appendicitis, and which is something you don't want to have happen to you when you're underway. In modern times, it's not as bad. You can get close to shore, have a helicopter come out and get you, or if you're carrying a helicopter, get you off the cutter or ship. But back in this time period, they didn't have helicopters on cutters, and at least not on Ingham and Duane. So they had to get close enough to shore to offload Melvin. And then while they were in Ponta Delgada, it was lucky for Torsten, because he was came under an attack of appendicitis, and so he was right there in port, and they removed him, and as he says in his log there, he went up to the hospital and was operated, and then you can see here he's got a picture of Melvin coming out of the hospital, and then Melvin looks like he's recovered while they're on liberty. But yeah, it's just interesting his log there if you get a chance to read that. And if you continue reading his log, you'll see that he actually stayed several days here in Portugal along with Melvin, and as they recovered. And you'll see some pictures here of the vice consuls and the consul's son, and I think the consul himself. And you'll see in his log, he says that he visited them, checking in with them, I guess, while Ingham was away. They were probably looking after them, making sure that, if they had any needs, that they were met. And then towards the end here, you'll see that they ran into a hurricane on the way back to Boston, and it did some severe damage to one of the lifeboats. And also, he says in his log that it broke out a couple of windows, and so it must have been pretty nasty, which would have been, there's a picture I mentioned earlier, this is the consul's son, and must have been also either Melvin or Torsten there with him. And yeah, it did which would have been typical for North Atlantic weather in the winter time here. And he's also got a pretty neat achievement, which is I do believe it's the Emerald Shellback certificate, which Ingham must have dipped down south a little bit here to get that, because if you look at the the route from Boston to Azores and back, it's a bit north of where you'd get the Emerald Shellback, and yeah, not easy to get. It's unusual because it's up in there in the arm of Africa, and you kind of have to go out of your way to cross that. But yeah, really cool achievement, and really cool photo album here. Really enjoyed coming across this. I mean, Ingham and Duane, they were both active when I came in the Coast Guard, and I mean, they say they had both of them had long histories from the 30s into the 1980s. And as for follow-on information on Torsten Gastgivar, I couldn't find anything except that he did put in a draft registration card for World War II, and obviously he served on Duane and Ingham, and there was a picture of him with a couple other Coast Guardsmen on LS-54, which I believe is Lightship 54, but I couldn't find any information on that vessel. And so if you have any follow-on information on him or LS-54, leave a comment, or anything on Duane and Ingham. And after Duane was decommissioned, she was sunk and made a reef off of Key Largo, Florida, and Ingham actually became is a museum ship down in Key West, Florida. So yeah, definitely if if you're interested in seeing Ingham, go check her out. And if you want to see Duane, I guess you're going to have to put on some diving gear and go see her off the coast of Florida. But yeah, it's kind of interesting that they ended up very close to each other, and as their final resting place. Now we'll just finish up here with a look at his Emerald Shellback certificate and Ingham in dry dock. And then this is a letter that obviously the stationery was from Duane, but he wrote it on when he got on Ingham. I hope you enjoyed this bit of history. Try to upload military and patriotic videos to my site here, about every other day. And if you're interested in a good read, check out my books at www.edsemler.com.